There we go. Hey, so Unit 7 note card, put your name on here because ours are all going to look the same. And it is currently first hour. Can you wait until we're done with this? Okay, go. Okay, so first thing is measures of central tendency. So this was 7.1, mean, median, mode, and range. In order to find your mean, you are going to find the sum of the terms. And you are going to divide that by the number of terms you have. So add them all up, divide by how many there are. Sum of terms divided by number of terms. Thank you. Okay, to find your median, you have to list your data in order first, and then you are going to find the middle number. We left the entire back side of this blank. Something that you might want to add in, if it's something that you forget what to do, is if you have an even number of numbers and your median ends up between two numbers, you might want to put an example of what to do then. So what you do if your median is between two numbers is you average out those two numbers, you add them together, divide by 2. Okay, mode is the number that you see most often, that occurs most often. So if you remember, MO is most often. And then range is the highest number minus the lowest number. Or you could say max minus min. Okay, so that is 7.1. We will use all of those things throughout the entire unit. And then median, you use that a lot on your graphs and on your box and whisker. So make sure you really know what you're doing with medians. Okay, 7.2 was our main area that we graphed. So we made 2 different types of graphs in 7.2. We're just going to sketch out a little example so you can see what they look like. And we're going to talk about when we use them. So we use dot plots with our discrete data. If you remember what discrete, or if you need to remember what discrete data is, that was data that was countable. And then I'm literally just putting random amounts here. This is what your dot plots look like, if you remember. You just need to know that dot plots were the ones with the little x's. So draw yourself a little picture. I just put random numbers of x's. You just need to know that when it says make a dot plot, you're making one of those. Okay, histograms we used with our continuous data. And that is data that is more measurable, I'm so bad at saying that word, than countable. So things like height, weight, distance. And a histogram, they were the ones that looked like this. Again, I'm just drawing random bars. You just need to know what they look like. Okay, any questions about dot plots or histograms? Alright, so those are the things that if you want a whole example, you can take one from your notes, your review, your assignment. Put a whole example on the back if you want to, but we're not going to put a whole example because if you know what it is, we're pretty good at making them. Alright, move down to the bottom left-hand corner. We just put the formula for probability on there. So it is the number of favored outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes. Or total outcomes is what I was going to say, but it says possible. So part divided by whole. While we're over here, two-way frequency tables, because the percentage is the same for both these things. Two-way frequency tables, a reminder that every row and column must total up. And then for both probability and two-way frequency tables, you're going to be asked to find percentages. To find a percentage, you always do part divided by whole times 100. All right. Last thing is box and whisker plots, and we have what each of the 5 points in our 5-number summary are on our box and whisker plot. So we'll move over to that. And I'm actually going to turn this way. So make sure you're starting on the left, but that's the direction I'm going to write. So from left to right, or I turned it, so bottom to top, the farthest left thing is your minimum. And then the left side of your box is your lower quartile. I'm just going to call that lower Q. And if you want to label that, that can be Q1 as well. The middle of your box is your median. And if you want to label that, that can also be Q2. The far right side or the top of your box is your upper quartile, which is Q3. And then the furthest to the right thing is your maximum. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this so you can see all of those now. You can get whichever ones you need. I just can't write sideways. I can write sideways this way, but not that way under the camera. Okay, so those are the 5 numbers in our 5-number summary. If you need a reminder, your quartiles. Can you guys stop talking, please? Are the medians of the upper/lower halves. Okay, and then I'm going to write this, but you need to make sure you understand what I mean from examples. I'm 98% positive there's examples of each of these on your review, so then put an example on the back if you need to. If you have an even number of numbers, you are going to include your median. I'm going to say include middle numbers. I'll draw an example on the back, because now that I say this, this is confusing me. And if you have an odd number of numbers, you are going to exclude your median. I'm going to put an example on the back. Because now that I say that, it's much easier to show you than to tell you. So we'll put an example on the back of that one. And you guys can add whatever other examples you want. Okay, so flip this over. I am going to draw 8 X's. So if this is an even number of terms, draw 8 X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you have an even number of terms, oh, I already put names on these. Let me find the one that's yours. There you go. Your median is going to be in the middle. So your median would be in the middle. All 4 of these numbers would be your lower half. And all 4 of these numbers would be your upper half. So I always, when I have an even number of numbers, I always draw a line in the middle. If you have an odd number of terms, so I'm going to draw, do we have that one? We good with that one? Before I scoot over. I guess I can just zoom out a little bit. People forget. Okay, I'm going to draw 7 x's. That's an odd number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I have an odd number of terms, to find my median, 1, 2, 3, it would be this number. So that would be my median. It's not in the lower half or the upper half. So I would just use these 3 numbers as the lower half. And I would just use these 3 numbers as the upper half. Okay. Questions right now? Okay, I'm going to end this video. I'll leave that there.